what I want to talk about. I want to get into, before we close the show, how to awaken other than having self-gratification and self-pleasure all the time as much as possible. Get those wrinkles down, everybody. But in addition to that, I want to give you I wrote 4 tips to how you can actually awaken your life force and increase that Aphrodite energy. And just remember on that, any kind of self-judgment or shame is going to turn it off. Okay? You want to feel dull inside and out? Judge yourself. You want to feel crappy and not want to get out there and get into life and feel confident? Feel shame in your body. Feel guilt. And unfortunately, a lot of us aren't even aware of the shame that we do feel because it's just so inherent in us. Unfortunately, we don't even know we feel so shameful. But when you go deep into yourself, and I've said that several times, I then become painfully aware how much shame is really in there for whatever reason. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the 4 ways you can awaken the Aphrodite energy and you and your life force. Number 1, welcome in the energy of the divine feminine into you. So it's a intention. Okay, you just start. It's not that fancy, but you actually want to have the thought, but also put your feeling into the thought, because that's the key to manifesting. By the way, anything that you want, whatever you want, is you can't just think it. You can't just affirm it, like say it out loud. You have to feel it. You have to become it. You have to breathe it in. You have to see it. You have to open your heart and your whole being to it happening. It's a feeling thing. It is not an intellectual exercise. So the first thing we need to do is welcome it into yourself. Welcome in that divine, feminine, beautiful, soft, radiant, nurturing, loving, accepting, all is one, beautiful flowing energy into yourself. That's number 1. Open your heart and your awareness to let it in visually. See it coming in. See it coming in right now as you take a deep breath and feel this type of blossoming and softening all around your chest. And then I want you to be aware for the next week, maybe 2 weeks or so, of doing that and bringing that type of energy into your body and let it teach you, let it express itself in you. So you might have to just put a sticky note up to remind yourself every day for a little while, but just breathing it in, closing your eyes, seeing that energy come into your body, opening your heart, softening. You can't let it in if you're all tense, right? So relax, make sure even if you're naked would be even better. Do it in the shower. It's a great time because water is also beautiful feminine energy. That's water because it's flow, particularly when a shower is flowing. And water also symbolizes the subconscious, by the way. But it's beautiful to do these practices in the shower because we can just close our eyes and open our face to the flow of the shower. And obviously we're naked and we just can feel the water hitting your body. Make it hot, make it cold so your body talks to you. And that's a beautiful way to embody yourself because this all really starts with, like I said, the manifestation process is a feeling. It's not an intellectual thing. So if you're cut off from your body like so many of us are, we're not even in our bodies most of the day, right? Particularly now with technology more than ever. Oh, we shoot ourselves to death and overthink everything. If you're analyzing everything, then you're definitely not in your body. Then this could be the beginning for you of embodying your body and feeling. All right, number 2, get to know your physical body. Yes, your anatomy. I'm not talking about your biceps and your hair and your legs. I'm talking about your sexual organs. Why is it that we don't even know? Well, at least I might be speaking mostly for women. And a lot of it might be because most of our parts are internal, right? But, good Lord, I don't say most, but a lot of women are not even familiar with their own anatomy. They're not even familiar with their own body. And we might be going back to the shame issue. But why is that? Have you ever looked? Take a mirror and go into your bedroom, lock the door, get undressed, and get on the floor and put a mirror between your legs and look at yourself It is you. It is you. And do not judge. Don't say anything at all. We're not even going to go there. But I don't want you to say anything. Because unfortunately, there's so much shame and hatred of our own bodies due to pornography and, whatever, media and all these touched up, surgically altered, whatever they may be, waxed, plucked, I don't know what they are, lasered, all these different images. Now, I'm all for good hygiene and all that. We won't get into that. But I'm only trying to make the point that, my goodness, we need to love and intimately know every part of our bodies, of ourselves. We need to know our ears. We need to know our nose and our shoulders and our hips and, yes, our sexual organs, each one of our toes. It all matters. Why are the sexual organs any different? And we all feel that way, right? But have you looked? Do you even know what yours looks like? Do you even understand the different parts of your body? And obviously this goes for men too. But, babies do it, right? Babies have no shame. Hang out with an infant. They're putting their toes in their mouth. They're moving their legs right and left all over the place. They look at their own poops and they're like, woohoo, it's cool, right? They love every part of themselves and there's no shame in it. And why does that get all screwed up? Well, yeah, it does. And it's sad. But wouldn't that be wonderful to truly, truly love every part of yourself without judging yourself? Yep. I think it's a good goal for all of us. So it can start with this tip number 2, which is actually looking at your anatomy. It's your body. And if you can't touch it and acknowledge and appreciate it and in a loving and inspired way, then how can you expect someone else to, right? How can you expect someone else to? And if you feel that way, trust me, that energy is going to be projected out into the world. The world is going to feel it. But who cares what the world feels? It's more about what you feel, right? It's really about you feeling. We all want to love ourselves. Oh my gosh, let's do it. So I want you to do it, and I want you to let me know what happens. And I'm not kidding about that. FitAmyTV on Instagram. Also, it's the YouTube channel, but you can email me as well at amy@amyfournier.com. All that's in the show notes, but I love hearing back. So please, let's dialogue on that. But I want you to notice what comes up with you as you do it. Because whatever's going to come up is going to tell you a lot about what's going on with you under the radar, girl. Okay? It's your subconscious. Okay? It's going to be a lot. Be very noticeable of any thoughts that come in your head. If it's hard for you to do this, which I know a lot of you are probably cringing, or you feel uncomfortable, self-conscious, shameful, or even wrong for doing this, then this is an amazing awakening and self-awareness moment. Yes, it sure is. Because you know what? We can't heal ourselves if we don't truly know ourselves. We cannot heal ourselves if we don't truly know ourselves. And we certainly can't love ourselves either if we don't know ourselves. And love every part of us. Yep, I've had to learn to love the irritable side of me. I've had to learn to love the judging part of me. I've had to learn to love the impatient part of me, okay? Because it's all us, okay? And remember that baby analogy. They love all of it. They might love Cheerios the best, but but it's all there. So, if you're not really aware of the subconscious beliefs running your life, guess what? They're there running your life, whether you're aware of it or not. That's the sad thing. And you know what? That can look like self-sabotaging behavior, by the way. Are you the kind of person that 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, keeps repeating the same mistakes, keeps dating the same type of people, can't get out of your own goddamn way, that type of stuff? Well, you might need to look at your subconscious. And a practice and exercise like this might be the start of it. Okay? If your life isn't going the way you want it to go, then you might want to consider it. And remember, as the saying goes, we need to heal to feel. And we have to also feel to heal, I will add. Number 3 of how to increase your Aphrodite life force energy. Become aware of what makes you feel good. and when you feel the feelings and the way you want to feel. Okay? So just notice in your day, in your night, whatever, every moment, when you're feeling awesome, when you feel bliss, which hopefully you do, when you feel joy, make a mental note of it. And of course, do more of it, or do it as much as possible, or at least schedule it in on the regular as an act of self-love and as a nutrient for your care, right? Just like taking the time to make a healthy organic salad or shop for properly raised free-range meats or whatever it may be. We have to schedule and make it a priority to do things that make us feel good. And so many of us don't know. If you were one of those people that said earlier when I said, feeling bliss and joy juice and pleasure, and you really didn't know what I was talking about and how that's different than happiness, then this number 3 tip is for you to start paying attention. Even if it's just a little bit of happiness. You might not be at bliss and joy yet. That's okay. Happiness is the beginning. So pay attention to things that make you happy. All right. And I mean really happy. Like chocolate makes me happy. I have chocolate every day because it makes me happy. But I also know when I have too much, then I get unhappy. Okay. Because then I have a whole bunch of other problems. So you can have things that make you happy, but then we also have to have discretion and balance and wisdom and all that as well. Otherwise, the happy making thing becomes an unhappy making thing. And then it's not happy anymore. Whew, did you follow that? I don't even know if I followed that, but oh well. I hope it made sense. So, for example, paying attention to what makes you happy. For example, if you want to feel healthy and fit or excited or energized, or if you want to feel calm and loved or safe or sensual or sexy or whatever it is, just pick a word that you want to feel. Then start getting in touch with the times during the day or the night that you felt that way. And then just do more of it. That's basically it, okay? And if you've got nothing still, you need to find those things. Or even think about what would make you feel that way. So let's just say, for today's example, what would make you feel sexy? If you don't feel sexy, what would make you feel sexy? Well, if I put on a really pretty dress, or if, I don't know, I got styled my hair a certain way, or whatever, took a bubble bath and felt the bubbles luxuriously caressing my skin and smelt these beautiful essential oils and had a really cool sponge and put it on my body and closed my eyes and I listened to some Enigma music or some Chakra 2 music or whatever. That would make me feel very sexy and sensual. So even if you think about it, if you're not feeling it, just imagine what would make you feel the way you want. Even if it's safety, what would make you feel safe? Well, if I had better locks on my doors, or maybe if I had a burglar alarm, or I was with a person I really trusted, then I'd feel safe, or whatever it may be. Or if I had a better car, whatever. Okay. So, I like to have soft fabrics in my home. I mentioned the locks on my doors. They all work. All these things help me feel the way I want to feel in my life. So please make a commitment and, to do this. And it might even be calling a friend, or taking a walk just to chat or stay connected or even just allow yourself more time to get dressed every day so you have more pleasure in getting dressed. And you put on things that before you put them on, you tap into how they make you feel or how they would make you feel if you wore that. For example, this shirt I have on today, if you're watching on YouTube, the shirt I had on today was not the shirt I was going to wear today. But when I was in my closet, I closed my eyes and I just thought about, when I'm looking at my clothes, what makes me feel a certain way as soon as I look at it. And this shirt was the shirt. And I actually didn't pick it right away. I actually went back to it because I'm trying to train myself to listen to that part of me, that sensual part of me that knows my feelings better than my head does. And that's why I ended up picking this shirt. So, but that also allowed me to make time to get dressed more than just in a rush like I often do, right? Or just out of necessity, I got to get out the door, right? I had to actually make time to give myself a good 10 minutes or so to be in my closet, to get dressed, to put my clothes on, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm getting at, okay? But you know what, my friend? We have to take responsibility for our lives and creating our feelings. We have to take responsibility for creating our own feelings. Do you see how that example I just gave you was me being empowered and creating the feeling within me that I wanted to feel? If you take one thing away from this episode, that has got to be it, okay? And I'm trying to help give you the tools to do that, because with the fear of overusing the term empowerment, this really is about empowerment, which means being empowered, being able to affect your life the way you want to. And often we have more power than we think. Okay, so a happy, fulfilled, fully integrated, and more consciously aware life doesn't just happen. It sure doesn't. Because it just doesn't get like magically bestowed upon the lucky ones or the one who won the beautiful gene pool or the trust fund lottery or whatever it may be. It doesn't just happen, because we all know people that might fit those categories that are really miserable and we would not want to be like, right? Think of somebody that is how you want to be or has what you want to have or whatever, because like Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues, right? What do? Well, I'm trying to share with you, not that I have all the answers, but I'm trying to share with you some of the things that I'm learning to do that are really helping me. And that's really what my show is about. So take back your power and tap into your feminine energy of creation and create your life the way you want it. Tip number 4, the last tip as we get to the end of the show, is be aware of your self-judgment. We've talked a lot about self-judgment in this episode. Oh, it's just so common. It's really a plague, I think. And you have to be aware of your self-judgment and your self-talk. So many of us don't even realize how mean we are to ourselves because it's so automatic. Or, it's how we've, unfortunately, maybe our parents did it to themselves, and it's so tragic. So tip number 4 is just, again, we can't heal and change what you're not even aware of. So just pay attention to when you are mean to yourself. If on exercise number 2, where I told you to go check out your own anatomy and you're judging yourself, be aware of the words you say. When you're getting dressed, on tip number 3, the example I gave of how I picked out my outfit, if you're judging yourself, well, that makes me look fat or whatever, be aware. Just start with being aware. You don't even have to change it. We don't even have to reprogram it. You don't have to reframe it. You can do that, of course, if you want. But just being aware of how much you do it is very, very powerful and the first step. So, you know what? For the next week, please just start noticing and being aware of the thoughts that you're thinking in your head and the way that you're talking to yourself. Because I guarantee you'll probably be horrified at how negative a lot of it is. And also you can do something that I used to teach my clients and my students, that what I call the rubber band test. It's super low tech, which is how I love it. Is you just put an elastic band around your wrist, and every time you think of yourself in a bad way or negative way, or you're berating yourself, or you have a limiting thought, pull back that elastic band and bam, smack it on your wrist. Yep, it's going to hurt. But you know what? That's what you're doing to your spirit every time you have a negative, judgmental, limiting thought. That's what your spirit feels like, okay? How would a baby feel like if you talk that way to a baby? It would be hurt, right? It would coil back. A little puppy, an animal, would be hurt. They'd coil back. Well, that rubber band test, it was going to hurt, but it's going to make you aware of what you're doing to your soul when you judge yourself. Because soul, divine spirit, is love. It's unconditional love. We all know that, right? That's what, love is unconditional love. That's what God, spirit, creator, whatever it is, whatever you believe, the force that brought you here, the creative life force in you, the one that this show is about, is helping to liberate that life force in you, is love. And when you're judging yourself, you're not loving yourself. And that rubber band test will be a good wake-up call, a painful wake-up call for you to be aware of what you're doing to yourself. So please stop. Okay? So, All right, let's see what else I want to say about that. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say about that. Um, oh, and you know what? Just on the judgment thing, I'll just add that remember that judgment always involves a value-based analysis. Okay, so when you label something as good or bad, right or wrong, fat or thin, or whatever the label may be, it involves an ethical and moral implication. And worst of all, it separates you from the divine love source, which is you. Because real love is unites, right? That's why unconditional love is acceptance, and it's acceptance of all things. We just accept other people as they are. We're not trying to judge them. We're not trying to change them. We're not trying to tell them they're wrong, which is a judgment, right? They could be not for you. Doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. You don't have to approve, but loving someone is fully accepting, and acceptance is unifying, and love is inclusion. The feminine force includes all, right? Mother Earth includes all. It is all. And when we separate or, cut out pieces is a very, it can be a good thing, don't get me wrong, because that's the masculine focus, right? Focus narrows the vision. It cuts out all the distractions, which we all need to do. And maybe you're the kind of person who needs more focus. You need a little more masculine energy in that regard. But the feminine energy unites and includes all things. There's no separation. So judgments are separators, and whereas love allows and accepts. Wow. Hey, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I went a lot of places as I normally do because once I get going, I guess it's all related, isn't it? I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about that affect all these other things. But hey, if you enjoyed it, it just means so much to me. If you let me know and share the show, leave a review, it really, really helps. It would be your way of giving back to me if I helped you, and I really appreciate that. So until next time, I already can't wait to be with you again.